College football thrives on chaos, on emotion, and on moments when the script explodes and nobody knows what's coming next. And nothing captures that drama better than overtime, the point where regulation ends and pure grit begins. But every so often, a game crosses into the unthinkable, multiple overtimes, with exhausted players, empty gas tanks, and stadiums that just refuse to sleep. Today, we're counting down the top 3 longest and most unbelievable overtime games in college football history. This is not just because of how long they went, but because of how unforgettable they were. Yes, these were the longest, but they were also the best. If you live for the moments that shake stadiums and send games into legend, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss our deep dives into college football's wildest chapters. This game that broke the scoreboard started like a typical SEC showdown. 2 proud programs, both ranked in the top 25, fighting for bragging rights and bowl momentum. But by the end of the night, Texas A&M vs. LSU was more of a war than it was a game. Played in College Station, the Aggies were coming off a modest 7-4 season. LSU, ranked number 7, had eyes on the New Year's Six Bowl. The stakes were high, but no one in the stadium could have guessed they were about to witness the highest scoring game in FBS history. The regulation drama was wild on its own. With just 26 seconds left, LSU thought they had sealed it after picking off A&M quarterback Kellen Mond. Ed Orgeron was already getting the Gatorade bath, but wait, the play was reviewed and Mond's knee was down. A second chance, one last throw, one last miracle. With literally 1 second on the clock, Mond delivered. Game tied. We were going to overtime. And then, chaos. The first overtime felt like a shootout, then the second, then the third. Suddenly, you blink and it's the 6th. The energy in Kyle Field went from electric to surreal. Fans didn't sit down, they just stood, screamed, and aged. It became a test of endurance. 7 overtimes, 7 rounds of must-score football. In total, the 2 teams combined for 197 total plays. Kellen Mond threw for 287 yards and 6 touchdowns. LSU's Joe Burrow had 3 TDs, over 100 rushing yards, and a performance worthy of a Greek tragedy. The final blow came when A&M, trailing 72-66 in the 7th overtime, scored a touchdown in the game-winning 2-point conversion. The scoreboard read 74-72, and just like that, history was made. It was a long game and the highest scoring ever. It triggered NCAA discussions, and within a year, new overtime rules were introduced to reduce long game risks. But that night in College Station, it remains pure chaotic beauty. By the time Georgia and Georgia Tech met in late November 2024, the rivalry already had over a century of animosity. But no chapter had ever ended like this. It was clean, old-fashioned hate with a modern twist. 8 overtimes, 2 comeback stories, and 1 instant classic. Georgia came in fighting to lock in a top 4 college football playoff ranking. Georgia Tech, unranked but defiant, was ready to ruin everything. And for the first 2 quarters, it looked like they just might. At halftime, the scoreboard read 17-0, Georgia Tech. Sanford Stadium was stunned. Beck was rattled. The Bulldogs looked flat. But Kirby Smart's squad didn't flinch. In the second half, Georgia stormed back. Quarterback Carson Beck threw 5 touchdown passes, including a stunning 4th-quarter laser to tie it. But Tech's Haynes King matched him blow for blow, piling up over 400 total yards and 5 TDs of his own. Then came overtime. Then came another. Then came 8. Due to the updated OT rules, from the 3rd overtime onward, teams traded 2-point conversion attempts. It became a ping-pong of quick strikes, crushing misses, and exhausted bodies. In the 8th overtime, the 2nd longest game in FBS history, Georgia freshman Nate Frazier took a direct snap, and burst across the goal line, 44-42. Game over. One would have expected celebrations to follow the game's awaited conclusion. Instead, it was chaos. Analysts criticized the new overtime structure as confusing. Fans debated whether this game was brilliance or burnout. But everyone agreed on this one thing: it was unforgettable. For Georgia, it preserved their playoff hopes. For Georgia Tech, it was a gutsy performance that earned national respect. For fans, it was a marathon. No one expected this one. Illinois came into Happy Valley as 24-point underdogs. Penn State was ranked number 7 in the country, with hopes of sneaking into the Big Ten title game. The experts called it a mismatch, but college football, as always, had other plans. The first 4 quarters weren't exactly a fireworks show. In fact, at the end of regulation, it was tied 10-10. Neither team had topped 400 yards. It was a slugfest, run-heavy, gritty, and old school. Then overtime began. The new NCAA overtime rules, introduced just that year, required teams to attempt 2-point conversions only, starting with the third overtime. What followed was the longest sequence of missed chances in modern football. Each overtime was a heart attack. First OT, both kicked field goals. Second OT, no dice. Third OT, failed conversions. Fourth OT, same. Fifth, sixth, still no winner. By the 8th overtime, players were dropping. Trainers rushed the field. Fans were holding their heads. Nobody could score. Then, finally, the 9th overtime. Illinois quarterback Brandon Peters found his receiver on a quick rollout. 2 points. Then Penn State failed to match. Game over. 2018 Illinois. 9 overtimes, an all-time FBS record. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't high scoring, but it was certainly historic. A Big Ten brawl that turned into a survival test. It also brought the new overtime rules into the spotlight. Fans and analysts debated whether the 2-point format added drama or just dragged things out. But regardless of how you felt about the rules, you couldn't deny what you saw. It was one of the most bizarre, dramatic, and improbable wins in college football history. While it's true that these 3 games shattered records, they did something even more powerful. They bent time. They suspended everything we thought we knew about the limits of a football game and turned Saturday into something eternal. They showcased everything we love about college football: heart, chaos, resilience, and a refusal to quit. Whether it was the scoreboard exploding madness of Texas A&M versus LSU, the revenge-fueled Georgia comeback, or the Big Ten slugfest between Illinois and Penn State, each game left a mark. They pushed players to their limits, they tested fan patience, and forced the NCAA to take a long look at how far is too far. But above all that, these games reminded us why we love college football in the first place. It's more than just winning. It's about moments. Moments that live forever. Moments you tell your kids about. Moments you'll never forget. So next time the clock hits 0 and your team heads into overtime, buckle up. Because if history tells us anything, it's that the real madness is just beginning. If you love epic college football moments like these, hit that like, smash subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a game that goes into legend. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll catch you in the next one.